Hi there, welcome back to Creatively Crafted Life. My name is Melanie, and today is a Craft with 5 meets Blitz Your Kitz video where I am doubling up a couple challenges. So first of all, Craft with 5 is a challenge hosted by Beth over at Bourbon Creek Crafts, where we feature 5 items and we need to make some sort of project with it. For the month of September, we need to use a leaf or have a leaf somewhere represented. The colors yellow and brown. We need to use a punch, and we need to use words. And I have this punch pulled out from Creative Memories. It is a border punch that has leaves in it, so that kills 2 birds with 1 stone. I also pulled out this Grateful SCT Sampler kit from November 2021, and it has some stuff in here that I think will also help finish it. And of course, I can pull anything from my stash. So how am I going to combine these 2 challenges? So the first thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to show you the projects I made featuring this kit and other items from my stash up front. And then whatever's left over, I will blitz and I will share that at the end. So we'll get, a 2-for-1. I hope that makes sense. Okay, so let me show you the projects I made that meet the criteria for Craft with 5. And here we go. Okay, so I made 3 cards from the kit that meet the criteria of Craft with 5. I also did pull stuff from my stash. I kind of had to. There wasn't enough meat in that kit to finish everything off. I did use that border punch to punch out the leaf print. I've used a brown card base. I pulled this ephemera piece. I think this was from Simple Stories, and there's some brown in there. And I've got the word hello, so we're meeting that word criteria with that. So I think that was everything. Leaves, yellow, brown, punch, and words. This is exactly the same design, just a different card base and some different ephemera pieces. This was from a Pink Fresh collection, and I used these clear stickers like I did on the other one for the word hello, only this time it said hi. And then this one, the brown is in the leaf. That's a reddy brown. Of course, we've got the yellow here. We've got leaves all over the place, words and more words. And the punch are these little butterflies. Now, usually butterflies are kind of spring kind of focused, not so much fall, but I think they just add a little something to the card. So if you tuned in just to check out the Craft with 5 section, this is it. We're going to move on to the Blitz Your Kitz here in a second, but be sure to check out the other collaborators by clicking on the description below. There's a playlist. And let's move over to Blitz Your Kitz and show you what I started with and what I all made in addition to these 3 cards. Okay, now that you've seen what I already made, we're going to rewind and go back in time, and I'm going to share with you the contents of the kit so you can see where I started and what I ended up with. So at the time that I'm recording the contents, I don't know exactly what I'm going to have made. So I don't think everything will have met the Craft with 5 criteria. So I'm pretty sure there's going to be more projects, which I will share at the end. So this particular kit features items from Pink Fresh, the Best Days collection, and then from Honeybee Stamps. And there was a leaf stencil in here that I believe I pulled out. And it has the SCT word grateful in acrylic. There's also some enamel dots from Pink Fresh, as well as Autumn Afternoon gems from Honeybee Stamps. Speaking of Honeybee, these are the 6x6 papers. They are double-sided and they were in a pad form. So I've got like a brick and then this kind of textured background. Here's another kind of textured background. The leaves, that's pretty. Honeycomb, and then that kind of watercolor background in yellow. Mustard yellow. Some more leaves. So I may have to pull some brown in from my stash. This is a geometric print, a plaid, and this has got a subtle diamond print on it. Okay, and then from Pink Fresh, we've got an assortment of their embellishments. So I did have a sampling of their chipboard circle, I think, or flare, if you will. I also have some of their stickers. Welcome home, this was so fun. And then for ephemera pieces, let's have a look at those. I usually find it easier if I spread them out on a white piece of cardstock so you can see what I'm starting with. Now, I'm not thinking I'm going to do a layout because I really don't need any more fall layouts, but I don't know. Okay, and then the cardstock, got this leaf print. The back side is kind of a plaid, I guess. A floral. And this is obviously a quarter section of a 12 by 12. The bicycles, the dots. Can we call that a brown? It's, might be able to call it a brown. I think it looks more brown in person. That's a pretty print. Like a wildflower, blue, and glasses. Okay, this isn't my favorite kit. I'm gonna say that right now. So we'll see how much I actually end up blitzing and what I end up blitzing, meaning filing it under recycling. So without further ado, let me show you the rest of the projects that I made. Okay, I'm gonna admit this kit was hard to use. While I love Pink Fresh, this was probably one of my least favorite collections of theirs. I know it was kind of fall themed, but it was just very eclectic. Let's put it that way. So I have a little bit of scrap paper left. I didn't think I was going to use this paper or this paper, but I did manage to use some of it up, and I'll show you how I used it. They were, yeah. Anyways, this is getting recycled. I've got a little bit of odd scraps that's also getting recycled. As far as embellishments go, I tried to use these orange enamel dots, but they really didn't match. So I put them on one card, and it is what it is. This will just go in my enamel dot storage. I've got a couple stickers and the chipboard circles. This will just go in my stash. I probably will ditch the glasses. And this is what I made. You've already seen these, so let's talk about these next. So again, it was just a very odd collection. Like the style of the ephemera and everything, just, I don't know, it was odd. Anyways, I took this one. This was a piece of ephemera that said "So Happy," and I removed the "so." I pulled out some Tim Holtz small talk stickers, and I covered up whatever the sentiment was on this green banner. And I think that one turned out kind of cute. So it's Happy Let's Eat Cake Day and Make a Wish. And then, as I do quite often, I will add any leftover scraps and embellishments that work on the interior. This was the same collection. Look at the color changes, right? Okay, enough, Melanie, move on. This was the one, I think it's about 1.5 inch square paper. I cut it into strips and then added this layer on top. Played off the pink, and I think with the blue it does make it pop. This is also from a Tim Holtz, and then I added some of those rhinestones. Simple card. I let the paper do the talking, just layered it on a couple of pieces. This is from my stashes from Echo Park, and here's my attempt to use those orange. This was the closest I think I could come, and even this is not a great match, but I think it's okay on this particular card. This one here was an attempt to use up the last little bit of that leaf paper that I used for the Craft with 5, and then the ephemera pieces. This is one of the chipboard. I think this one turned out kind of cute. Same collection with the bike. I guess because it's got sunflowers in it, maybe that's the fall nod, not sure. The chipboard piece in here, I didn't like the sentiment, so I covered it with a Tim Holtz gold foiled label sticker, and then added "Enjoy Today" from his small chat. And really that's about all that I did with this one, just a couple pieces of cardstock and the bike. Now these two are basically the same card. The proportions are just a little bit different. And I did raid my stash. I went to my die cut sticker binders. In this one here, I liked the pink, so I went to my pink binder. I found this, was it a cockatiel or cockatoo? And I thought that kind of played off with the leaves. And then again, small chat. And then this one, there was that mustardy, greeny yellow in here. And so I found the word hello. And then I found this crow, I guess. Or is it a toucan? Might be a toucan. I don't know. Whatever bird this is. And I think that turned out okay. It is left balanced. And I actually sometimes like that. Something about being off balance I think can be appealing. I didn't add any other embellishments on this. There is a little bit of foiling in the ephemera, and I think it's good enough. And then from those leftover bits, I made 2 card bases. This was one of the pieces I didn't think I was going to use. And these are the leftover bits from the honeybee paper. And let me just talk about that other sheet. Because this is a 2-tone card base that I used and the dark blue was on the inside, I needed to put something in here anyways so that I could write. And this particular paper, this is that one with the scalloped edge in dark blue. Because this is light enough, I can easily write on here. So there you go. That is it for this month's Craft with 5 with a bonus Blitz Your Kitz thrown in. I hope you enjoyed. Be sure to check out the other collaborators, and you can do that by clicking on the playlist in the description below. And until next time, happy crafting.